and sing.
Hey y'all, what's up? It's your girl Chanel Elaine, and I'm your host for tonight.
And it's your co-host Kia Nicole.
And what are we sipping on?
Oh, yours look cute. You start first.
Uh,
Mine ain't nothing. No,
okay,
what
I'm
you
gonna tell
got?
y'all. I did this look real cute. Y'all would never guess. There's no liquor in here. It's a peach
I
soda,
know.
but it looked like a little Bellini. So I thought
I
this was
knew.
cute.
I
My little strawberry.
knew it. You do that. You be having it dressed up, and it be very much virgin.
It's virgin. That's fine.
Mine is a. I don't know. I just made it up. It's Henny and some like fruit punch. I don't even know how it tastes.
Mm.
I taste the
Insane.
Henny.
Well, we're gonna go ahead and hop into tonight's live. Y'all, the topic is mind over matter. What
Let's do it.
role does mindset play in overcoming obstacles in your life?
It plays a huge role. Actually, what comes to mind is this quote that I think it was like my high school math teacher had on the wall when I first read it. I didn't know I thought it was a riddle. It was like, if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, then you can't.
Right.
And I'm like, when I first read it, my little teenage mind, I'm like, huh? That don't make sense. But now it makes perfect sense as an adult. I understand it. Literally, if you believe in yourself, you can do it. And if you
Right.
don't believe in yourself, it may take you longer to do it, or you simply won't be able to do it simply because you didn't have the belief. So everything starts with just believing in yourself. That's half the battle right there, just believing in yourself and not getting in your head like, well, nobody in my family has ever did this or ever never accomplished that, or this happened to this person or they failed at that, so that's probably what's going to happen to me. Like, you have to get out of all of that negative headspace and just know that anything is possible. You just have to first believe in yourself. So yes, it plays a huge role basically.
When it comes to mindset, I feel like it depends. If you have a positive mindset, then you're going to have a positive outcome. If you have a negative mindset, you're going to have a negative outcome. So a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times we don't think things through all the time. I feel like sometimes we just react in the moment and on instincts, and sometimes you make the wrong decision when in the heat of the moment. So I feel like sometimes when you sit down and process things, it works out a little bit better for you. You can kind of plan around it, and you could, kind of make lemonade out of lemons or whatever the case is. Yeah, when life throw
Mm-hmm.
you lemons, make lemonade. That saying.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like having the right mindset in the right moment can save you so many troubles down the road. If you, for example, somebody cut you off on the road, instead of getting out and wanting to,
As we
oh
all have
Jesus.
been there. Uh-huh.
Right. You may say, you know what, this is my time that I need to sit down and pray. So it's like, okay, that could just save you from, there's so many violence nowadays. So that could save you from, the actual, things that may happen. You may die from that, situation may escalate, your family may be involved, jail
Uh-huh.
time. It just saves you from so many things. So I feel like when you are in a situation, you actually sit down and take the time to think it through. You're like, okay, you know what, this is what I should do, this is what I shouldn't do. Because baby, acting on impulse sometimes have led us to be, situations we don't want to be in. We've been
Mm-hmm.
held back due to that. So I feel like as we grow, as we learn, as we mature, taking maybe a double take at a situation before you respond, before you react, it saves you so much. It tells so much about your character as well. So I feel like when you have that mindset, it carries you a long way. And you also want to put yourself in position to be around the right people as well. Because guess what?
Mm-hmm.
If you're around like-minded people like yourself, there's nothing wrong with that. But you do want to have people that are above you in a sense. That way you can kind of see, they can kind of lift you up in a sense. So I feel like mindset has a lot to do with it, career wise, friendship wise, relationship wise. It all just depends. But having a positive mindset would also lead to different results. So do people truly change, or do they always stay the same at the core? What's your thoughts on that?
I think it depends. I think certain parts of us can change, and certain parts of us, like our core values, some of that stay the same. Like, if you grew up believing in God and Jesus, like I said, I think certain parts of us can change and certain parts may stay the same. So if you have a strong faith, more than likely your faith may not waver. Like, you're going to still believe in God, you're going to still believe in Jesus, things of that sort, if that's your faith throughout life. For some people, that may change, but most of us, it's going to stay the same. If you're a kind person, you're probably going to always be kind. Now you might alter your kindness so that it doesn't get taken advantage of. But if you're a kind person at heart, like usually stuff like that, that's not going to change. However, certain habits, for instance, if you were a stubborn person, you can change that. Like you don't have to go your whole life being stubborn. Like things like that, like bad habits can definitely be broken. And yeah, it just depends. But yes and no, basically.
I feel like I'm in the middle as well. Yes and no. I feel like as we mature, we do change. We learn a lot. Like, if you've been in a situation once, clearly you're not going to do the same thing if you didn't like the outcome of it the first
Some people
time. So, of course, you're going to
do.
do something. Well, yes, but whoever wants to actually change their
Mhm.
habits, I feel like you would first think about it and say, okay, well, I've already done this and it didn't work out, so maybe I should try something different. So I feel like, yes, you can change to some extent. Like you say, if you're a stubborn person, you realize, like, dang, I always have to be in control. And it's like you're put in all these situations where you have no control. It's like, what are you going to do at that time? You might just got to say, you know what, this is a time for me to learn. This is time for me to accept it. This is time for it to be okay. So I feel like we
Mhm.
can change to some extent. As we mature too, I feel like things happen. Like, you might become less patient, you might become more patient,
Mhm.
you might understand things a little bit differently in life, you may, process things a little bit differently. But me personally, I feel like if you factor in physical things like finances and money and stuff, yes, I feel like that can substantially change a person to some extent. If they've never had it before and they have it now, well, baby,
Might
they
start
might not remember you
acting
as a
funny.
right, right,
Mhm.
right. So I feel like sometimes, like, physical things can be a thing, and it's like also too, if you could. I don't want to say buy someone out, but it's like, okay, well, I can do all this for you. You can't do this for me, and they feel like you're no longer in the same bracket as them. I feel like that could also impact a person as well. So I feel like when it comes to changes financially, spiritually, if you're spiritually changed, you may not want to hang out with the same friends you hang out with because y'all beliefs are different as well. So
Mhm.
there's so many factors into it, but do I believe that someone can actually change? Yes, if they want to. Now, you can't change a person, so they have to physically want to do that for themselves. That's my thought. And as you grow, I feel like you do want to change. You do want to become uncomfortable so that you can become comfortable. If you're going through life and you're comfortable all the time, it's not really going to lead you where you want to be. So
Mhm.
sometimes you really got to sit back and say, you know what, let me take a leap of faith. Let me step out and just hope God going to catch me at the end. And 99.9% of the time, he does. So I feel like sometimes you have to get uncomfortable to get comfortable. So I
Mhm.
feel like we can change, but you just got to want to change.
Exactly. Sure do.
How can someone identify their true strengths and weaknesses? And how can that knowledge add to their personal growth or their journey?
I feel like the easiest way to identify your strengths and weaknesses are to like basically reflect on your past. Like, what were things that you accomplished, things you excelled at? That's probably your strengths. What were things that you failed at or things that you needed to improve on? Those are probably your weaknesses. So I would say keeping track of that is a good thing too. Like for one, I think most successful people, they might have managers or something that's going to tell them, okay, this is what you're good at. We're going to capitalize on this. This is what we need to improve. We don't have that. We have to be that for ourselves. We have to hold ourselves accountable. So we have to know and recognize areas when we need to improve in and areas where we're doing great and put ourselves in environments that are going to allow us to shine, in areas where we may need improvement. Like we might have, like you said, we might have to get uncomfortable, step outside of our box, step outside of our comfort zone. We know we're really good at this, but in order to be better at this, we might have to like put ourselves out there in order to get better. So, um, to answer the first part, basically just reflect on your past. It's kind of easy to recognize what you were good at versus what there's patterns, it just takes self-reflection and how it can improve our self journey. I just feel like if you want to be successful in life, that everybody has to like evaluate what they're good at and what they're not good at. And there's certain things, just as human beings, that we should improve on. So like if punctuality is a thing that you struggle with, well, in life you got to learn to be punctual at some point. It's a part of maturing, and that's just something that we have to improve on. Or let me give another example. If you're not good with conflict, well, as a human, we got to learn how to be good with conflict, because you can fumble a bag not knowing how to talk to people correctly. And, so it's like certain things you just have to know how to do. And if you don't know you need to improve in an area, you're simply not going to improve because you don't even know you need to improve in it. So it really just takes self reflection. But yeah, it can just help overall with you being a better person to yourself and to others, and more success, happiness, peace, just knowing and being like self-aware of things that you're good at versus things that you need to improve on. So yeah.
So piggyback off of what you're saying, how can someone identify their strengths and weaknesses? I feel like taking a leap of faith, like what I was saying, a lot of times we don't know what we're good at. Like DIY projects, I love to do them, but baby, some of them just not for me. And then there's some that actually come out good. And I'm like, okay, I might like this. I might got a little, artsy side to me. So I like to try new things. And, I'm very scared when it comes to heights. But guess what? I want to jump out of an airplane on my list. I don't know, before I'm 30. Yet I'm pretty sure I'm going to get up there and panic. But the point is, like, I don't know if I'll enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I might do it and it might just be something I enjoy. So I feel like when it comes to those things that you might say, like they always say never to something. You might say, I don't think I want to do that. And then that's actually a really, like, a strength of yours. That's actually something you might enjoy. So when it comes to testing boundaries, I'm like that. I like to test boundaries a little bit. I just like to find out more about myself. And like I said, as you mature and you take the time to sit down, and growing up, they don't really push that on you. Like, take time to sit down, date yourself, have fun with yourself, understand what you like and understand what you don't like. And, as you get older, it's like, okay, you're finding out all these things about yourself. And you're like, wow, this might be a hobby of mine. This might be something I like to do. And me as a kid, growing up, I got into music. Like, I learned how to play the drums. It wasn't for me. I learned how to play the guitar. It wasn't for me. I tried the piano, never made it far. But at least I could say I tried it, and it just wasn't for me. But I would have never wanted to go through my whole life and be like, dang, I wanted to do this. I want to do that. Now, financially, if I'm able to do something, I'm going to do it. I'm going to try it. I might say, you know what? It's not for me, and it is for me. So I feel like stepping out of your comfort zone again is what's going to help you with your strength, and what's going to help you identify your weaknesses. Now, it could be a weakness to you, but it could also be more so a learning experience, because we're not going to be good at everything. Like I said, we're very much human. So you can look at it as like, okay, this is a con, this is a weakness of mine. And in other words, you're really learning it for, other purposes. So just testing your boundaries is a way to find out what your strengths and what your weaknesses are. And if you've never tried something, I feel like you would never know if you're good at it or if you're bad at it. So take that leap of faith. Don't leave this earth regretting. Don't wait till you're like 40 and 50 and be like, dang, I wish I did this. Dang, I wish I did that. Like, I sit down and I reflect too, and I'm like, okay, I've done enough, but there's still stuff I want to do, and still stuff I'm gonna do. I just don't want to get to a point in time where I'm like, man, I was too fearful to do that. Man, I was too, and then you go through wanting to, sometimes you have older ladies acting younger than their age because they never actually had the time to do the things when they were younger. So I don't want to do that. I want to be able to say, I enjoyed my 20s. I enjoyed my 30s. Like, I had me a good time. I want to be able to say, I did what I could and I did what I wanted. So find out what you're strong at, you apply it in your strongest areas, and you work on your weaknesses as you go. So that's how you can add to that. What's one small habit someone can consistently add to their personal growth?
I think creating a routine, which is something I'm working on, like actually being intentional when you wake up each morning. Don't just wake up winging it, or wake up finding yourself doing the same mundane stuff that's not getting you anywhere. Like, actually coming up with a routine that is going to help better you and make you a better person. Like, making use of the first 20 minutes or so of your day. Like, instead of getting up and immediately going on your phone, which is something I need to work on. If you're spiritual, like getting your Bible, pray, like, do something productive, go for a walk, go work out, like do something other than immediately tackling your phone, getting on social media, scrolling. Like, just coming up with the routine and sticking to that. And I feel like we'll notice a world of a difference, like as far as good habits that we form, how successful we can be, how productive we can be. Also, starting our days earlier. So if you normally get up at 9 a.m., like try 5, try 6 a.m. Like, you will notice you're able to accomplish so much. By like noon, you're gonna be like, dang, I did like a full day's worth of stuff, and it's only noon, and you're just gonna feel so much better. You'll be able to rest earlier. It'll just be better. So ideally, this is what I think of, and these are habits I want to form. So I feel like that's a good habit and a good, thing to implement in your life.
Being intentional, like you said, you're the type of person, I'm late everywhere I go. I don't know what it is. I don't understand. I could start being ready 2 hours early and I'm still gonna get there late. It just, I don't know why. I just feel like I gotta get somewhere late. Let everybody go ahead of me and I get there late. And I've always been like that for a while. So that's something I consistently work on. I used to be like an hour or two late. Now I'm like 15 minutes late. I'm like, oh, that's a win in my book. Because, I mean, I improved. That's not the goal. The goal is to get there on time.
Yeah.
But let's be realistic. First, you can't just cold turkey stuff. You just slowly. So now, when it comes to a job, that's different. And I know I have to apply the same things, to regular life, to events. So I have to apply the same thing. But for me, it's just a habit. And, it's good habits are harder to form and bad habits are also hard to break. So once you have a habit and you've been doing something for so long, it's hard to get out of it. It takes time, it takes work, and it takes like intention. Like if you say, okay, for example, the gym, if you say, okay, I'm going to go to the gym today. All right, you may say that. 10 months later, you done drove past the gym a million times. You could just walk in there, make the payment, and now you have a membership. But in your mind, it's like, no, I got this to do, I got that to do. So you're constantly changing your intention. Like you really don't want to go, but it just sounds good to say. So I feel like if you're intentional about it, you're gonna say, okay, I'm gonna make time for this. So if you make time for it, then you're being intentional about that. You're being intentional about your purpose. So we're not as intentional as we want to be. It's just like saying something because it sounds good to reassure us at the moment, but in all reality, it's not like a step that we're actually taking forward. Like you said, you can miss out on opportunities because if they're giving you an interview or job or making your bag or whatever the case is, and you showing up late to events, you're not going to get rebooked. They're not going to have good recommendations about you. You might lose out on money. You mess up your business. Like it's not going to be good. So in the long run, in all honesty, it's not funny for real. But you do just want to take those small steps to be where you need to be. Hop into the trivia. Nothing too long. We're trying to get on by tonight. First things first, self-discipline or self-compassion?
Hold up, I gotta think about these terms. Self-discipline. I need context. I don't know what we're talking about here.
Okay, so you would choose which one applied to you most. So self-discipline or self-compassion. Which one would you feel like applies to you most? Or what you would like to apply to yourself most?
I would like to have more self-discipline. Right now, I'm gonna say I'm in a self-compassion area. Like I have a lot of compassion for myself. I discipline myself enough? No. Okay. I do not.
So same thing. I'm like, I would definitely want to do a little bit more self discipline. Like I say, there's some intentional goals like I want to accomplish, but I'm just like, I get to it, and then I never do. So I do.
Yeah, we give ourselves too much grace.
Right. So yeah. All right. A growth mindset or a fixed mindset?
Like, which do I prefer, or like, what do I categorize myself as in? A growth mindset. I feel like as we get older,
fixed mindset. I think so to some extent. So I'm going to explain. I agree with the growth mindset. Like, of course, to mature and to grow and to become, blossom and to be who you want to be as you get older, you do have to have a mindset of growth. Sometimes you got to get a new job. You got to move out of the town you live in. Sometimes you just got to step out on faith and do something that you don't typically do on a day-to-day. Now, when it comes to fixed mindset, I feel like sometimes when it becomes like, if it pertains to your beliefs, I feel like someone shouldn't easily change your mindset on that. If we're going that route, like I feel like your principles and your standards, you should stand on that.
Go back to what I was saying, that last question, yeah.
I feel like that for me would be a fixed mindset. Like someone shouldn't be able to come in and just say something, you're like, oh yeah, all right, great, and you just change your whole years of belief. That for me, you should have a fixed mindset in that sense. But as a part for like financial, spiritual, emotional, all that, I feel like you should look forward to growth, a growthful mindset.
So you had to choose, and you chose.
I chose growth, but I'm explaining where I would come in with the fixed if I had to choose fixed. All right, continuous learning or mastering one skill.
Continuous learning.
Don't look at me like I'm crazy. This is what Google gave me, baby, and I'm working with it.
I mean, it's good to master a skill, like but then it's like you want to do something else. Anyway,
I know it seems so easy to choose, but it's like you really could choose the other one and have a good explanation as to why. So.
You could. I would say for me, continuous learning, for sure. Because I get bored sometimes. I get bored easily. So after a while, I'm going to want to do something else. Like, I don't know. I'm not going to do the same thing.
I do too. Wow. Once I've mastered something, I get bored after it.
Yeah, you're going to get bored.
You are. And you want to learn something new. And then it's like, once you learn something new, you're bored again. So I feel like you're constantly learning something is good. Yeah.
I think that's life. Constantly learning new things.
So this next one here, this is a fill in the blank. So you could just add your words, sentences, whatever you want to add to it. In order to improve my mindset, I need to challenge myself to blank.
In order to improve
my mindset, I need to challenge. In order to improve my mindset, I need to challenge myself to what? What do you feel like you challenge yourself to in order to improve your mindset?
I need to challenge myself to step outside my comfort zone. Boom.
I didn't hear you.
Step outside my comfort zone. Boom.
Okay. I can see that. You're real relaxed. You're really laid back. You're very introverted. Well,
I am introverted.
No, I was going to say to some extent. You're introverted to some extent, but that's for you to speak on. That's
really
from the outside. But
no, it's good to hear other people's perspective, like your friends' perspective, because we have a very different perspective from our friends. Like we may think we one way, and our friends be like, "No, girl, you really this way." You know?
I feel like, well, you are introverted, but like if you met someone for the first time, you may not speak up. But if that person speaks to you, you're gonna have a full-blown conversation with them. Like you're not gonna go out your way to start a conversation, but you know for a fact if they start speaking, you're also not just gonna sit there like on
I'm
just on mute.
Easily adaptable. Yeah, I can easily adapt to my environment.
Right. Yeah. All right. So for me, in order to improve my mindset, I need to challenge myself to what? I would say learn from this. No,
I'm my bad. Go on.
I think I would learn from setbacks. Like anytime something happened in life, don't always look at it like, man, like this is not happening fast enough for me. This is what I want. It's not moving quick. It's like in that time that you're waiting for something to happen, that's the time you should be learning. You know what I'm saying? So when you get where you need to go, you're not trying to figure out all these things. So I feel like for me, I need to take that time. Okay, they always say for a minor setback is a major comeback. So sometimes when God just pruning you for whatever reason, and you're taking that time to learn, or if you feel like something's going wrong in your life all the time, and it's like, man, can I catch a break? And the whole time it's like God is He's just molding you and then preparing you, and you're over there, why am I complaining and delaying your blessings? So I feel like those are my responses to that. I feel like just being mindful of setbacks and to understand that it is a learning process when you get being set back by God. So there's that. The last question is, which of these is an example of a growth mindset? A, believing that abilities are fixed and unchangeable. B, viewing failure as a learning opportunity. C, avoiding challenges to prevent failure. D, focusing on natural talent. E, creating a structured routine.
E is crazy. I never heard multiple choice go to E in a minute.
Oh, baby, I brought you back to school, huh?
I thought you stop at D. I said E.
Yeah, baby, it's A through E. It's giving multiple choice.
With a bonus. Multiple choice is a bonus option. Oh, darn it. It's B. For 200, Alex.
God dang it. I thought the E was going to throw you off. You got it correct.
It did. And that's why I said repeat the first two, because I knew it was at the top of the list.
Yes.
I just kept listening to the rest of them, but I'm like, God dang.
Well, at least we know you paid attention in school, huh? You sure was the one at the front of the class. Like, you always raising your hand to give an answer.
No. I was very shy and timid. I was one of those people, I knew the answer, but I was too afraid to raise my hand and actually say it. So when somebody else would say, I'd be like, dang, I knew that. So
I just never had to. I didn't want to raise my hand, but if I was called on, I knew the answer. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yes, y'all, in order, which of these are example of a growth mindset, viewing failure as a learning opportunity, which is what I was saying. Like a lot of times we see setbacks as like this downfall in life, or you feel like you're not going nowhere, you feel like you're not reaching your milestone fast enough. And the whole time it's like you're failing all these things. To you, it's failure, but it's supposed to actually teach you, to help you to get where you need to be. So just be mindful of that. As y'all know, tonight's podcast was about mind over
Mind
matter.
over
Just being
matter.
mindful of yourself, being conscious of yourself, having positive thoughts. We're going to have negative ones, but just, take your time and process. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's a little
I
into
like
tonight.
this because we're about to enter into a new year. So I feel like we should take what we talked about into consideration when we start a new journey in
Mm-hmm.
the new year. None of that new year, new me stuff, but like
Oh, the
new
New
year,
Year, New
new
Me is played
habits.
out, baby. That is so played out.
Yeah, new year, new habits. I think that's a better way to phrase it. Yeah.
New Year, try new things.
New habits, new experiences. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
agree. All right, y'all. If y'all just popping in and out, thank y'all so much for coming. Again, I was your host for tonight, and you're here with my co-host Kia Nicole.
That's me.
And this full video will be on YouTube later this week, and shorts and stuff will also be posted on our page, Live and Unfiltered. And of course, don't forget to go over there and follow that, and we'll be live on Kia's page on next Tuesday. Am I missing anything, ma'am?
Nope, you mentioned YouTube, IG. We good.
All right, we're out. Have a good night, y'all. Bye.
Have a good night. Bye.